What's good, y'all? Welcome to the Z Podcast. When I say P, I mean profit. When I say S, I mean C. You dig it? What I'm saying, baby? Now let's keep it moving. Follow the feng shui. You dig it? Bienvenue Podcast Z, man. And we're gonna talk about self love on this podcast. Self love, self love, is something you gotta have for yourself. God made us in the image of love, right? But a lot of us don't know how to love ourselves, and we do certain things based off of fear and lower emotions and doubt, uncertainty, insecurities. But when you operate from a place of self-love, you naturally have more respect for yourself. You're just not going to be in any and everything. Everybody ain't going to get your time, energy, or attention, right? So when you got self-love, and when you know what self-love is, and you know what it looks like, and you know what to look for outside in the world, you tend to less likely to be disappointed in life. You tend to less likely to have high expectations for people that you know is going to let you down constantly over and over. And I'm not perfect. Like, I've been through many things in my life where, like, stories and situations where if I was to speak on it, it would sound like it was crazy. It wouldn't sound realistic or true, right? But what matters is throughout all that chaos, all that trouble, you find a way you find a way to love yourself and have self-love. Less self-hate and more self-love for yourself, because when you decide to neglect yourself and not acknowledge yourself for where you are and where you at in the moment, you basically saying, oh, I don't care about myself, I don't love myself. When you make a decision that you feel like you won't regret, you basically saying, I don't love myself. And I'm not saying you should have to regret your choices and decisions for you to start loving yourself. But we all be young and we all have enough common sense at certain ages to know what's right and what's wrong. But do we always do what's right or what's wrong? Do we do what we think is right? Do we do what we think is wrong? Right and wrong is just a perspective. You got to think about the bigger picture here. When you do stuff out of ignorance or out of self-hate or self-loathing or self-pity, right? Then you basically excuse your behavior. And when you excuse your behavior, you're not really addressing the problem. You're not really having self-love. To have self-love, you got to be honest with yourself. To have self-love, you got to be like, yeah, like, nah, that shit ain't what it is, or that's not for me, that's not meant for me. Like, you have to have self-love for yourself to know the difference when you're being ignorant with yourself. I've been ignorant before myself. Like, it's been times where I've made decisions and choices in my life where I was young and decided to want to steal a little bit, right? And that's all a part of, like, the journey. But when you young and you not thinking of certain things and you doing what you think is right or think is wrong, you're in your ego and you're trapped. You don't have no self love for yourself. And when you keep yourself trapped, how can you really feel love for yourself if you feel caged in? Ain't that's kind of what the Jaws want us to do? Want us to feel caged in? Like, there's so many things out here that will try to box you in and make you feel small. And if you're not having self love for yourself already, it's gonna be 10 times harder. We're not doing this alone. We're doing it with spirit and a higher power. So, like, you gotta really consider, like, how, like, when you do certain things, that there's God in the picture. And that means there's self love in the picture. And when there's self love in the picture, there's nothing to be worried about. Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. That's that Bob Marley right there. But I'm gonna get ready to end this live. I mean, not this live, but this podcast for y'all. I probably should do some more lives, go live with y'all on the podcast. But y'all have a good one, and make sure you digest this information, like, comment, and subscribe.